All right, here we go for another Tableau video, and this is actually a part 2. So I had a question here about a week ago from Jonathan Glass, and his question was, if you have a postcode and you have it in two locations, how can I map both of them if they're in two separate columns? So there was a video done on that, on mapping the two postcode fields, but that is assuming you have two postcodes. What if you have a longitude and latitude for each? So instead of two columns, you have four. Not four, four. How do you solve that problem? That's what we're covering today. So before we get started, as a lot of you know, I am promoting the new website that has come live, and I thought there'd be something really fun to do because on the first page, I'm supposed to have like a banner that welcomes everyone, and I can't think of anything good to say. So if you drop a comment in the comment section of what this first one should say, and it makes me laugh, I will give you a free 1-year membership to the site. 1 year, if you can come up with something funny. So whichever the funniest one is, you get the prize. All right. So let's get into our video. Let me show you the dataset we'll be using. And if you wanted to follow along, there's a link in the description below. I have here a ID, and I've got the wrong, hang on, where's my drawing tool? Yep. So I have an ID here, which just signifies each row of data. And I have two stations. So I've got station 1 and station 2, each of which have a latitude and longitude. And what I want to do is on a map, let's just say of Australia, because that's the easiest thing for me to draw. I want to plot station 1 position, which let's say it's over here, and station 2 position over here, and then potentially draw a straight line. All right, that's what I want to do. The previous video did that using just a singular postcode. We're now going to do it with longitude and latitude. Now, there's a number of ways to solve this. And the way I'm going to show you is using Tableau Prep. But typically in the real world, we probably wouldn't solve it with Tableau Prep unless we have something called Tableau Conductor, which a lot of organizations may not have. Okay, so I'll probably do a second video showing you how to do it in SQL, right? But for now, let's do it in Tableau Prep. So let me close this up. I'm going to open Tableau Prep. Okay, and that's a previous thing I was building. Here we go. Let me just get the sizing right. And here we go. So if you've used Tableau Prep, great. But if you haven't, this is like a bit of a showcase on what you can learn and just how much life will be easier with a tool like this to clean your data. So I'm going to drag and drop the data set. And I have here the data that's come in. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to add a step. All right, so I've got my data set there. And really what I want to do is bring the station 1 and station 2 underneath station 1. So I have a column for ID, station, latitude, and then longitude. Okay, that's really what I want to do. And here's how I would do it in Tableau Prep. Okay, so firstly, I want to split up station 1 from station 2. And the way you can do that in Tableau is really just creating 2 steps, so they divert. One of them is going to be station 1, and the other, I think I can zoom out here. There we go. And the other is going to be station 2. Now in the station 1, we only need station 1 data. So I can right click, remove, and remove. So now I only have station 1 data, and I do the exact opposite thing in the station 2 flow, get rid of 1. Okay, that's it. Now, when I bring them together, I'm going to have a problem, which is I'm not going to be able to tell the difference between which one is station 1, let's call it the start position, and which one is station 2. So when I do a union, simply by dragging this underneath, you can see that little union icon appears. It's going to bring them together. Let's bring this up a little bit. It's going to bring them together. I'll maximize that. And because the labels aren't the same, this one is telling me, well, station 2 data only exists for the blue flow, which is that one. And then the orange is the other flow. So I actually want these to combine. So latitude with latitude, longitude with longitude. And instead of renaming them to have the same name, I can just click and drag on top of the latitude. Okay, let me show you that again. So if I click it and I drag it on top, it will merge them together. So now it will, instead of them being like this, it will go like this. So now they're aligned into a single column. I know they're combined because now we have blue and orange together. And I do the same thing for longitude. Click, drag, and now I have both of them together. I can rename this, just double click and call this latitude. And then the other one, let's call it longitude. There we have it. So now we have them one on top of the other. So if I click ID 1, I should have two entries. You can see one position and then another position. But the problem we have is which one is the first position, which one is the second. We actually don't have that. So what we can do in Tableau Prep is actually add a step in between to mark the station number. So the way you do that is if you look at this line here and I click the second plus, you see two pluses will actually appear. You can see there. I'm going to click the second plus, the one that's closer to the union. And if I do that, it's going to add a step in between. If I click the one closest to it, it will actually branch off, which is what I don't want. I want it in between. Step, and I want to do it for this one as well. Step. Okay. So now here in clean one, we're adding an intermediary step, and I just want to mark what the station name is. So we're going to go create calculated field. We're going to go station, let's say station name, and we'll call it 1 and go save. So that will put a number 1 on every single entry. All right, you can see here when I zoom down, when I scroll down, it's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And if I go here to clean 2, I get the same thing. All right, create calculated field. Let's call this station name 2 and save. So now that'll give me a station name. Now, because this is a flow, it will actually send all that data into the union. So when I open the union now, there's actually a station name that's been added. And you don't have to merge them because they actually had the same name. So Tableau Prep, if the names are the same, they will automatically merge. Okay, and you can actually see it here, which ones are matched, mismatched. And because we changed part of the flow, we actually have to do that part again. All right, so I can click and drag that like that. Or another method is if I click this one, right, the latitude, and I hover over the other latitude, I can actually press plus, and that will just merge them. Activate longitude, hit plus, and it will just merge them. That's it. Okay, let's add another step. So clean step, and let's do the final cleanup. So I don't need this table name, which gets generated from where the source came from. So we can just remove this. We have station name, we have ID. So now if I go ID 1, you see there's a position 1 and 2. Let's call this latitude. Let's call this longitude. Okay, so now we have our data prepped in the way that we want it, and we can now head over to Tableau. There's two ways to do this. You can either press plus, go output. Okay, and we're going to switch this to either a CSV or a Hyper or Excel. Doesn't matter which one because they're all going to be able to be fed into a Tableau Desktop workbook. You can change the name and then basically you run the flow so it extracts the file out. But we're being really lazy and we want to just be able to test the code without having to build anything final. So a nice little trick is you just click on the final solution, right click and go preview. Now this is really great when you're in design mode because you can just kind of load the file temporarily just for quick testing. So if I go preview in Tableau Desktop, it will compile it. If I go done, it will open a Tableau Desktop file, which you'll see in a second, load up my data set, and I'm ready to go. Okay, and now we're going to proceed with the next part, which is actually mapping the stations. All right, here we are in Tableau Desktop, and we're going to map the actual position. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move station name from measures into the dimension. So it will remain a number, but it will now be a dimension because, well, you can't really add station names. It doesn't make any sense. So we're going to move it there. And then we're going to map the actual nodes or the actual postcode locations that we have. So I'm just going to double click the first one, so latitude. And then I'm going to double click the second one, which is longitude. And when you do that, it will map for you. But because these are aggregated, as you can see, right, we actually don't want that. I believe we simply go, is it dimension, I believe? Yeah, so if you switch them both to dimensions, it won't aggregate the longitude and latitude, which are represented by numbers. The next thing we want to do is we actually want to link up one position to another. So the simplest way to do this so that you're not overwhelmed is if you drop ID into filters and just pick a few, maybe 3. Okay, so you can see them. So we have all the positions we were talking about, and I'm going to drop the ID on label as well so we can see. So if I look at ID 1, it's actually from here to here, 4 to 4, 7 to 7. To add a line, we simply go line in the marks card. So if you do that, it's going to create the lines. And because we have the labels in there, it can actually identify them separately. But if you don't have the labels, watch what happens. It tries to connect them because you haven't given any information to it on how to separate. So what you can do is you can either add ID to the color, ID to the detail, right? Or you can just say station name as well. So, sorry, can you do that? No, you cannot do that, right? Because, for example, this may be station 1 and that could be station 1. So what Tableau tries to do if you add it in here, it tries to combine all the station 1s, which doesn't make any sense. So what you can do is drop ID into detail, and what the station name does, it tells it what the path is. So if I drop this into path, it won't change. But what will happen is, say I had 3 locations or 4 locations or 5 locations. The station name is the order in which the line follows that path, right? So for maybe point to point, it won't be applicable, but just know that for further ones, like if you're monitoring traffic movements or car movements or vehicle or transport or logistics or anything like that, you'll want to know the kind of the flight path or the movement path. All right, so that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you at the next one. Bye.